It's being recorded. Thank you. And we require active participation, please. So you've got the chat, you know how to access the chat. Are you all familiar with the reactions button at the bottom? Do you all know where that one is? So that you can do some fun things. So we've got things like, oh, if somebody makes one of those sort of comments. So you got the idea. You can use those at the bottom. Please do use the chat. And also if you've got questions, then please pop those in the chat as well. And we'll bring those up towards the end when we have the Q&A at the end. Okay. That's the panel discussion. We have 10-2 survey. 2 minutes before we finish off, there will be a survey URL put in the chat. We ask you all to take a note of it, and within 24 hours, put back your feedback so that you're there championing all of our wonderful speakers, giving them feedback on what works, what could do with a bit of work, and yeah, how to make it even better. All of our speakers are experienced and appreciate feedback, because this is where very often you don't get feedback when you're in front of an audience. Really helpful. Okay, best speaker feature. Part of the survey is, who's your best speaker? Vote away, because whoever wins that will get plastered over our 7 socials at the end. We ask you to remain on mute, please, unless you are speaking, i.e. you're one of the speakers, and with your camera on, so that you can fully participate. We love to see your lovely faces. And on that front, we're about to take a photo for our social media. So please, folks, those of you who want to come on camera, I'd love it if you did. Grace, over to you.
Hi, everyone. We're going to take a quick photo. At a count of 3, everybody say, hey. You get that? Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Hey.
Wait. Oh. Can you turn on your camera, guys?
Vanessa, Matt, Vashti, are we on, please?
Okay, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, hey.
Hey.
Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, hey. Okay, thank you.
Lovely, thank you. Right, so I've introduced the team. Can we go back to the deck, please, Grace? Once a quarter, we have a special winner. Your audience surveys that go back. At the end of the quarter, we offer a goodie bag to the person who has been most consistently there and most consistently giving great feedback. This last quarter, the accolade has gone to Alison, who is here with us today, and she has won $8,088 worth of prizes. So all the speakers are asked to contribute to this goodie bag. And then at the end of the quarter, hey, somebody gets a nice big bag of goodies. So thanks very much. Next one, please. We've done the picture. Oh, bit of a brag moment. As a team, we have been finalisted, if that's such a word, for the Raw Awards, which is a business awards session based here in Brisbane, actually it's in Brisbane in Australia. And we're in the mad category, as in make a difference, which we're very happy about. So we're excited about that. 19th of November sees the results coming up. Okay, thank you. Next one, please, Grace. Okay, this is the agenda. Welcome and introduction. This is what I've been doing to date. Vanessa's going to start us off at 10 past. Then Rosa's coming up at 20 past. Dan's coming up at 30:30. Krystal's going to finish us off at 22. Panel discussion at 10 to, and then 2 minutes to, as I said, we'll put the launch out. As our speakers are speaking, their links will go in the chat. So please do remember to save the chat. If anybody can't save the chat because you're on your phone, give me a shout and we can do it from here and we'll send it out to you.
Okay.
Okay, next one, please.
You don't want video, you don't want.
Thank you. Okay, Vanessa is our first speaker. Now, we are so much at the mercy of society's conditioning, aren't we? We've got the issue where we're told what we should look like, how we should be, particularly as women in terms of our body image. So Vanessa has been working really hard on herself and now shares her wisdom with how to align with who you really are as a woman in terms of how you embody you in your body. Vanessa, can you tell us more about that, please? Over to you.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Wendy, for that and for this. So greetings, everyone. I'm really happy to be here with you and for anyone watching this on the replay or at the live stream. So what I'm talking about today is, like Wendy said, how to embody yourself, because obviously that is actually the point of all of this. Even though we get pulled in so many different directions, familial stuff and culture and society, and women and girls in particular are targeted the most to be pulled outside of themselves and start looking elsewhere for those things that we all want, which is to feel great, to look great, and according to ourself, right? Finding that according to ourself. And so what I'm talking about is aligning to your own divine body. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So when I say divine body, those are my words for the body that is best for me, the body that is most serving for me, the body that I feel great in. And even though there's going to be all this talk about body, and I say it over and over, and my whole mission is about embracing our bodies and changing our bodies the way that serves us, it's actually not about the body, really. What it's about is being the vessel for your soul, for your spirit, for your gifts, so that you can live the life you're meant to live, which is the life that brings you the most joy and the life that the world needs for its highest expression. So the term divine body is my way of saying, of course I'm in a body, of course I have a body, of course you do too, we're all here in bodies, but it's a real acknowledgement of that's not what we are. And most of the diet industry, and even parts of the health industry, there's such a focus on the body as if we were only a body. And I think that's one of the main reasons that the diet industry is $1 billion industry, if not more. And it's mostly failing in that more people spend money and end up gaining weight, feeling like a failure, feeling ashamed, feeling like they're in this trap, and they are running on this hamster wheel, continually not feeling good enough. And what I am doing with the Divine Body Align is approaching the body not from a body perspective at all, from who I truly am, which is all of these other things, as a mental being, as an emotional being, as an energetic being, as a soul or a spirit. So this is why I call it divine. And so people have asked me before, well, is this a religious thing or a spiritual thing? No, it's about whatever your alignment is. We all have our own. And the whole purpose is that we're not warring against ourselves so that we can get on with living our lives in joy, freedom, peace, full self-expression, so that we are better parents, better lovers, better society members, better business owners, better friends, happier, period. And at one point, what really started, what I didn't know at the time, but I was at war with myself, and at the depths of it, at my lowest point, I was in college. I was day drinking in class. I was binging and purging, and had been in this mental hell back and forth for years. And one day I ate a chocolate croissant, and that threw me over the edge. And it's ridiculous, and it sounds silly, and it is, except that was the thing. That's where my sanity was at the moment. And that was the thing that was having me consider not be alive anymore. And I immediately ditched class and walked myself into the counselor's office, shaking and crying. And I said, I need some effing help. And I don't mean we need to meet weekly. I mean, I need major, real help. I am at war with myself. I can't look at myself in the mirror with peace. I can't enjoy any food in peace. I'm never gonna skinny enough or pretty enough. And I'm so done with it that I don't want to be here anymore. And we checked me into the psych ward, and I stayed 10 days. And that, for me, because it was so extreme, that was the beginning of what ended up, this was almost 20 years ago, what ended up developing the system of the divine body align, where I practiced loving myself, all of myself, though, my physical self, my mental self, my emotional self, my spiritual self, to the point that I have far exceeded what I thought was possible as far as enjoying food. And I ended up losing the weight without dieting or exercising or anything. And these are some of the things I want to share with people today, because though all of you might not have these issues, this work, I always say, it's for a few people that have bodies and people that eat food. That's what this work is best for. It's really ideal if you are berating yourself or doing any of that stuff. This is great for you too. Here are my quick tips for you. First of all, the foundation is that you are lovable and worthy, period. You were born that way, and there's nothing you could do that could make you more that way. That is where we need to start from. And that is not what is the basis or foundation of the diet. And even some health industries, depends on the health. That's a huge, huge field, of course. But approaching your change, approaching anything you want from the place of, I'm already good enough. There's nothing I could do to make me not good enough. That is something that is not conditional. And when people get that, then you can start going to step 2, which is sourcing your change from that abundant, creative place. Step 2 is to look at your food and look at your body as not physical things. So instead of qualifying and quantifying by measuring and weighing and nutrients and vitamins and minerals and calories and this and that, that's fine. That's one way to approach the physical part. We're not physical. We're not just bodies sitting here. We need to eat nourishing our emotions, nourishing our soul, nourishing our mind, being present, paying what I call fully aligned attention to our food, engaging in the experience from the inside out, from this present, pleasurable place. Pleasurable. That is that divine alignment of eating in this way that is so, so, so different. I don't believe in certain diets. I don't believe in restriction for anyone who's had eating disorder issues. That's just not the way for most of us. The way is love, and it's from the inside out. So holistic eating, truly holistic eating. And the third step is watch who's in control of your life. So I don't know if we're allowed to curse on here or not, so I'm not going to, but no one has been as mean to me as I had been to myself. And I have dated some real yahoos. So when I stopped listening to the major jerk in my head and believing what she was saying. And I started listening to a kinder, loving voice and believing that voice. The same way I treat my daughter. I use a lot of my daughter as an example of how to love, because there's where I can easily attach to that unconditional loving. So those are my 3 tips for you. I have many, many more, and I have so much to say, obviously. What I'm going to offer you before I leave today, if you want to hear more, I have a 5-day reset. It's free, and it's all about holistically embodying yourself, how you eat, weight loss with joy, muscle gaining with joy, enjoying your food, all of it from the inside out. So that's my free realign reset. And I also do complimentary alignment assessments. So if you're lacking any peace and freedom and confidence in embodying yourself, I am here to help you. Thank you.
Beautiful, Vanessa. Thank you so much. It's great, isn't it, to get away from this societal conditioning and really rethink what we're talking about. Grace, can you share with us the screen, please? Because now we're going to shift gears a little bit. Again, it's back to thinking. Where are we joining in with what's going on with the world around us? I'm sure from a business perspective, many of us here are business people, and you've turned up to a networking meeting and had the situation where people have flung a load of cards at you and said, let's connect, and walked off. And you've gone, hello, who are you? I don't know the first thing about you. It's that sense of connection. Vanessa was talking about connecting to our bodies. When we're in business situations, we need to connect with each other, don't we? Rosa, can you tell us a bit more about what are you thinking? Over to you.
I would love to, Wendy. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My question to you is, what are you thinking today? Now. Oh, no, now. No, now. Okay, what about now? See how quickly that changes? And we are externally influenced by somebody speaking, people sitting close to us, and a whole number of things. Why is it important to notice what we are thinking? Because thoughts are alive with energy. Thoughts are energy, and it turns into things. When I heard that thoughts are things, I really had to look deeper. And so I'd like to share some of what I've been learning about that with you. They work like magic to create our reality, don't they? Think about what you think about, and you will see instantly that your thoughts have gotten you exactly where you are. Same as mine. So first caution, be careful what you think, moment to moment. A side note, I just learned that there are only 2 things that are alive on this planet, and that is fire and thought. And they both send messages, guys. So I'll leave you to pursue that. However, the fact that thoughts come before words is interesting. So now we're going to connect these. And words have what? Power, Wendy says. And isn't she right? Words have power. Words manifest into our reality. But long before those words are spoken, we have been thinking and thinking and thinking, haven't we? Thank God for sleep, huh? Freedom, let me ask you a couple things. Freedom, happiness, love, friendship, health, and wealth, aren't they our birthright? Yes. Who'd like more of that? More of any of that? Oh yeah, for sure. We've been created to live our life in freedom, health, and wealth. And if our life doesn't look like that now, could it mean that our thinking may have something to do with it? Is it possible that we may be blocking ourselves by our thoughts? Think about that. Now you're going to be so cautious about your thoughts. You're not going to not like me, okay? Please. This is going to help you. We have been looking at thoughts as just something that happens and we have little control over it. Well, that's not true, because our words carry the same energy our thoughts carry. And so now when they say we manifest our reality with our words, our communication, verbal and nonverbal, we understand a little bit more about how that gets manifested, because we are energy, all of us, energy and matter, right? And so we all have read and understood that what you see here looking as solid is not really solid, and we're all energy and matter. So if it's the same thing with thoughts, then we must be more conscious about those thoughts turning into things. Okay, I think I've got that point clear enough. Yes, everybody got that? I have a slide in my PowerPoint that I use sometimes, and it says, I don't need to know you. I can feel your energy. Is that powerful or what? People usually get the message when they see that slide. Well, my name is Rosa Lokaisingh, as you've heard, and I am the founder of Connecting You in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And a big part of my role is connecting people to employ their energy so that we can have a brighter, sharper, vibrant, loving world. After all, we are already connected. We forget how we're connected. So I'm here to remind you that we're connected in spirit, in matter, in energy. There really is one energy thread across the whole universe. And we're all particles of that one energy. So when we understand that, doesn't it make it easier to say hello to somebody on the street or at a networking event? Put away your business cards. They're not ready to know what you do and how you do it yet. They want to know who you are and who you are being in this world. And who I am being in this world will translate very quickly with them. They will know that. So knowing that thoughts are very powerful instruments and that we use it to either create happiness or wealth or sickness and poverty, I realized that my life, the life I was dreaming of, was not materializing. And this happened a few years ago. And so then I went deeper and started to think about how I may be blocking my own dreams. And so I started to focus on the energy being and realized that every day I get up, the state of my mind has everything to do with the thoughts I had yesterday and the day before and the day before, because I was carrying them with me and wasn't changing anything. So I went on automatic. We're not robots. Why do we behave like robots? But we do. And with all, now we've been told, just manage your thoughts, become the master of your thoughts. Just don't think that anymore. Think this way. Is that easy, folks? I don't think so. I've tried it, and I know you have too. You know why it's not easy? There are a couple of reasons. Well, when we were young, of course, there were different schools of thought that taught us how to think. But we didn't have much control of how we thought because we were influenced by our parents, our family, our cultures, our community, our school, our religion, our churches, and heaven knows what else. So we were not in control, really. We were sorting things out and trying to become a full person. We weren't even treated as people when we were kids. Do you remember? And boy, did that really bust my chops. So I became a fighter from then, listening to grown-ups treat us that way. And it was like, oh no, I have a mind of my own and I'm going to use it. So yes, as we mature, we got told that you are the master of your mind. And now we have control. But guess what else came into play? Ads and media and all the subliminal messages. Well, I want to know, how much control do you have? Again, spun out of control in the matrix. So the question remains, how do we manage our thoughts? I have a lot to share on that. As you can see, my time is coming very close to the end. And what I want to say to you is, unless you do this is my call to action. You will be taking courses all your life. And I don't want you to do that. So folks, without understanding what energy is, how we are all connected on this planet through a fine thread of energy, and that we really need to love one another. Unless we do that, our thoughts are not really going to change by all those tips and tricks and techniques. It is in understanding that we are one. When I know that you are loving me as I am loving you, no better, no worse, no judgment, then I can naturally change my thoughts and not have to work through NLP and bless those techniques. No, nothing, knocking them. I love them all. However, this is a much easier way to do it. So if you want to know any more about this, please come and join me. You're in time for Friday. I'm talking about know what truly motivates you to come alive every day. I've been asked 1,000 times, where do you get your energy from? And I'm here to tell you, energy feeds energy. There's plenty of it. Let's go get some. Join me Friday. Get the promo code. You'll get a ticket to come to my event. It's 8:30 Eastern, just for an hour and a half. Please come. I'd love to be with you. Thank you so much. And choose your thoughts wisely. Never think a thing that you don't want to have happen. Always think of a thought that you want to become true, with love.
Fabulous, Rosa. Thank you so much. Whoa, we do think, don't we? And we can't stop our thoughts. So those are so important. And yes, we tend to think in words. So of course our words have power to influence what we're thinking. Thank you very much, Rosa. Really helpful to think deeply about that. Okay, Dan, we've got a bit of a theme about society and conditioning here. We are taught to go for more, for more, for more. You have more qualifications, you have more rungs on the ladder in your corporate job, you have more, including using up more time and being busy as a badge of worth. I'm busy. Yeah, really? Busy can lead to burnout. Dan, tell us your take on less is more. Over to you, please.
Thank you, Wendy. Yeah, like Wendy said, for 30 years, I'd run a nonprofit youth sports organization. We were doing amazing work in the community. We were changing lives of children. But yet there was this background. I was working 80, 90 hours a week. And it was difficult for me to give that up, understanding that the work I was doing was changing lives, yet I was probably slowly killing myself. So in August of 2020, my wife and I sold all of our belongings. We bought an RV, and her and our golden retriever travel around the country now, doing different speaking engagements and writing additional books. And what we found through that society gives us this huge just load of things for us to constantly be consuming. Buy everything, collect everything. We lived in a 3,500 square foot house, and as we started downsizing and started selling all of our stuff, we understood how little that stuff actually meant to us. And we really took on a new live in the moment type of attitude compared to what we had always lived for our entire lives. So one of the things we've been able to do as we've embarked on this new journey of understanding and really appreciating life, and you've heard it from our previous speakers already about all this stuff that society's thrown at us and telling us to collect and buy and consume, that at the end of the day, we're not taking any of it with us. And for us to just live in the moment and appreciate the moment and appreciate the beautiful creation that God's given us here on this earth, and being more present with people when we spend time with them, has been so much more important to us than it ever has been in the past. And we've really been on this journey throughout these past, little over 2 years to understand that at the end of the day, all we truly have is this moment. So when you're spending time with people, instead of constantly looking at your phone, instead of constantly wondering what there is to do tomorrow, what there is to do next week or next month, just take in that moment, take in that one-on-one connection that you have with those people. And, one of the incredible blessings that we've been able to do throughout our journey here is we've been able to connect with a lot of the old players that I used to coach. And as we're traveling around the country, we may only get to have a dinner with them or a breakfast or spend 2 or 3 hours with them, but we are truly in the moment when we're spending time with them and understanding what they're doing in the world and what they're doing to contribute to the world, and kind of seeing the fruits of the labor that I had put in for 30 years of my work has been an incredible blessing for us. And, we have just been able to embrace that and understand how important it is, and understanding that truly less is more. It's one of those things that just collecting moments as opposed to things and experiences are the things that we have really kind of strived on throughout this new journey of ours. And understanding that the memories that you create, you'll hold on to for a lifetime, but people you meet, you're going to make a mark on their life, their entire life as well. That's stuff that can't be taken away. I had a huge basement filled with all kinds of baseball memorabilia and stuff. And again, it was just liberating, getting rid of that stuff and selling it, and understanding that at the end of the day, I was never going to take it with me anyway. So, many people ask us how we could go from 3,500 square foot house to a, roughly 300 square foot RV. And I just tell them all the time that it's just been so liberating for us to be able to do that and get rid of everything and be able to spend so much time with each other. I mean, my wife and I, we had a great relationship prior to doing this, but it's grown even stronger since we've been doing this, since we've been traveling around. We just value each other's time so much more. We value walks in the woods, all those experiences that were just rushing by us as we were kind of in this rat race of what society wanted us to do by, consuming and collecting and, just buying everything that you could possibly think of buying, when at the end of the day, none of it really matters anyway. So what I want to stress, and not necessarily suggesting to everyone on this call to sell all their stuff and buy an RV and travel around the country, although I do highly recommend that. If it's something you want to do, I'll gladly give you the pointers on how to go about that. But it really truly is understanding what your own less is more is all about. Because it for me, it had to take that big step and had to be getting rid of everything that we owned and traveling in an RV. For you, that may not be the answer, but it is something that you should find what your answer is, to dig deep and find out what is your less is more. Is it, instead of going to the store and buying 3 pair of socks, you buy 1 pair of socks. You know, what is your own less is more? And I think that's the beauty of what we've been able to do, is that this was the right fit for us, but it may not necessarily be the exact right fit for you. However, there is a way to understand without selling all of your stuff that less is still more. And understanding the experiences and understanding being present with the people that you're spending time with. You know, turn the phone off when you have lunch with an old friend. Leave it in the car sometimes. Any call that you might get during that, you know, half hour that you're with that person, you're going to be able to call them back later. And truly being present with people is one of the things that we've really come to appreciate throughout this new journey of ours. And I just think it's one of the things that, you know, has allowed us to grow mentally, spiritually. We're in probably the best health that we've ever been in our lives. We walk more, we enjoy nature more, and we just, again, enjoy the beautiful creation that God's given us, and we enjoy the people that we're around more. We're actually back in our hometown right now, and we're much more present now when we're spending time with our family, when we're spending time with our old friends, than what we ever were. In the past, it was always, you know, you spend time with someone and then you're rushing off to do the next thing, to, you know, okay, what's on the agenda for, you know, the next hour, the next week. And I think just really indulging yourself in being present with people is the way we truly appreciate life. And I think that's something I just can't stress enough, is to, you know, understand that none of those things that you have in life are going to go with you, but those memories will last forever. You know, you've got people in Florida right now who have literally lost everything due to a storm, but yet they're going to find a way to rebound, because the stuff can always be replaced. But the moments, when you miss those moments, you can't always replace those moments. So again, I can't stress enough how important it is to just be present and understand how important that is, to really just be with the people you love and enjoy those experiences that life presents to you, because you never know when it's going to be the last time you're spending time with that person. And value those moments throughout your life, because that's really what is going to stick with you. So I'd invite you to go to my website and sign up for my mailing list, and give you tidbits about just ways to really be present and enjoy that moment as you move forward in life.
Thank you, Dan. Brilliant message. The presence thing is so important, isn't it? And when working with speakers, that's one of the things that one of my 7 pillars of influential communication is about being present. It's one of those things that is easier to define by its absence than defined by its presence, if you'll pardon the pun. But you know when somebody's with you, and you also know when there's a disconnect. So thank you for pointing that out, Dan. And I love the fact that the chat's been talking about different things that people are finding their less is more in different ways. As you say, it's very individual. So thank you very much for sharing that. Thank you, Grace. We're coming to Krystal. Krystal is our last speaker today. And this lady is a real creative. She's been creative all the way through life, from her corporate world in terms of working in theatre to now having her own publishing house. It's all around telling stories, because stories connect us. Getting a bit of a theme here. We're connecting, we're being present, we're understanding that this common thread of humanity goes through all of us. Krystal, can you tell us more about using storytelling to transform lives, please. Over to you.
Here we go, my apologies. Who here would love to connect with their ideal clients with more ease and grace? Hands up, please. Who here would just love that? Absolutely. And who here has ever made a sales decision based on a connection they felt and a trust they felt in the buyer? Who here has experienced that? And who here would love to make a bigger impact into the world, transform and inspire the people around you in a bigger way? Did you know that Dan and Chip Heath from the New York Times bestselling authors discovered that facts are only remembered by 5% of people, whereas stories are remembered 63% of the time? So here we have a theme. When we use stories, we connect, as Wendy just said. And Vanessa Boris from the Harvard Business puts it in these words. She's saying that telling stories is the most powerful means that leaders have to influence, teach, and inspire. Now, why is that? It's because stories bypass the intellect and they connect straight to our heart. They connect us human to human, soul to soul. When we hear somebody share a story, we immediately go into connection, comparison, thinking where are we like each other? And even if you've not experienced the same thing as somebody else has, we find the underlying theme. And I've experienced this over and over with the authors in my books. And when we tell stories with purpose, by looking at the theme that is underlying them, that's when we really harness their power. Because who doesn't want to be entertained, right? Like we connect with something more when we're having fun. That's a proven fact as well. And we connect with something more when we're moved. And what I find the most important thing about the power of story is that it's unique to you. Nobody has your story. So when you're thinking about being a business owner in a competitive marketplace that is saturated with lots of coaches or lots of publishers or lots of whatever you're doing, and you're getting into this overwhelm and this, oh my God, you know, I'm just invisible, they're all much better than me. If you come back to your story and why you do what you do, all of that disappears. At least that's been my experience. Has anybody experienced that before? Like coming back to why you do what you do, exactly. So that's why stories matter. So let me share with you why I do what I do. For me, it's all about empowerment. That has been my theme all the way through. You know, I've empowered actors on stage giving their best performance. Then I became a transformational life coach. And now I'm empowering change makers, conscious leaders, and creatives to becoming best-selling authors and sharing their stories so that that ripple effect can empower the world. Now, why is this important to me? Firstly, philosophically, because again, and this is a bit of a theme, we've been controlled for thousands and thousands of years. How? Through fear. And so control is a theme that we're collectively currently overcoming, because it's time for us to come into our power and remember how powerful we are. It's been stripped away from us through conditioning, and right now is the time to reclaim it collectively in this time in history. So when I was 4 years old, I had finally received my baby brother. I'd been asking for a baby brother for a very, very long time. And we were sitting on a sofa. My mom had his bottle, and she had a kettle that was open and boiling so she could heat it up. And so for whatever reason, my baby brother's feet were close to this kettle and it splashed all over my chest. So here I was at 4 years old in hospital for 10 days in isolation, naked. Now, do you think I lost my trust in the world? Do you think I lost trust in my parents, in myself? Do you think I suddenly didn't feel safe anymore? And isn't that how we get disempowered? And we all have a story of how we get disempowered, every single one of you. And you might even right now thinking about what was that moment for me? When did I lose my connection to the divine? When did I kind of separate? And so I became a control freak. I tried to control my environment in order to make myself feel safe, because I didn't trust anybody else could do that. And it has been a 45+ year journey to, story by story, moment by moment, reclaiming that trust in myself, in the world, in the divine, and each time reclaiming a little bit more of my power. So that's why I'm passionate about now gathering the change makers to come together so that collectively we can empower the world. So what do I do to do that? For the last 20 months, I have been publishing multi-author books with up to 25 people each. I've now worked with over 100 thought leaders from 20 countries and 6 continents. And I've published 4 #1 international best-selling books in up to 3 to 5 countries. I'm a truly international person. You hear my accent is not nothing. It's what it is, something. It's international. It's a mixture of originally being from Germany, moving to England, living in the US, and now landing in Australia. So that's what I bring. I bring a truly international concoction of everything that holds the multitude of who we are. And what happens in these containers? Oh yes, I also work with the lead authors. For some reason, I've been able to attract into my books the likes of Dr. John DeMartini and Laurie Ladd to stand alongside these change makers, to empower them even more, to give them the credibility to embody that. So the transformation that we create with these books doesn't just happen with the reader, it also happens with the individual creators, because as they're looking through the lens of the theme of the book at their own lives, something clicks, something falls into place and elevates their confidence, their clarity, their magnetism, and their ability to break through whatever current upper limit they have. But it's not, there's also fears, of course. The fear of, what if my story isn't good enough? What if, who do I even think I am to claim this title? I shouldn't do that. Nobody does that. Like, who am I to do that? I can't write. Like, the others will be so much better. So these fears are natural. And I want to just hone in on this thing about my story doesn't matter. What's my story anyway? And if you have that fear, it's simply because you haven't linked your story to your mission. And so that's what can happen in these multi-author books. I want to share with you a story of one of my contributors. I'll just call her Ella. And she is a psychologist, and she wrote a lot of facts. She was very comfortable in the role of the teacher, but it was very vulnerable for her to open herself up and share her story. And I wonder if you can relate, what will people think of you? And so what I showed her in the developmental editing phase was to strategically point out the places in which she could bring herself into the story and where she could share why this was important to her, how she came to the teaching methodologies that she has created. And it felt safe. She knew I had her back. She knew I was going to make her look good. And so that really, she was extremely happy with the chapter. She got incredibly great feedback afterwards. And yeah, really embodied that ability to be a best-selling author. So I'd love you, if you like, I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and just think about embodying this title of international #1 best-selling author, perhaps for the first time, perhaps for the 10th time, because each time we grow that little bit more. As we are sharing a little bit more of who we are, feeling that now, having that courage to share, to make a greater contribution in this world, to transform lives, to show up more, because that gives us energy. When we are in our passion and our purpose, the energy that comes from that can inspire others. So feel that right now and feel what transformation you can create in your world, because you have the courage to change, to share your story. Just breathing that in and just coming back. And in the words of Maya Angelou, there's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. So I invite you to claim your story, to share your story, and to transform lives. And if you'd like to do that in one of the multi-author books, if you're just curious, reach out. I'd love to have a conversation and see how I can bring your best story out in a powerful way that can make a bigger impact in this world so that we all can be empowered. Thank you.
Fabulous, Krystal. Thank you so much. Haven't we had a fabulous run of speakers? We're all being aware of how we've been conditioned all the way through our lives. And all of us have been talking about, no, time to own ourselves, own our own story, to be who we really are. Thank you very much, everyone. Have we got any questions? Because I'm curious, excuse me, how do you show up as your authentic self with less of the societal thing? Well, okay, what I'm trying to say is, what boundaries do you put in to say that, no, I'm not going to be taken on, I'm not taking on any more societal stuff? Dan, would you like to come in with that one, please? Sorry, I've just got you a drink.
Again, I think for all of us, it's a little bit different. But for me, it was just, again, coming to the realization that even though I was doing amazing work and working with youth and changing lives, that there was something more, and just embracing that and saying, I'm not going to continue to play that game. I'm not going to continue to play the game of, constantly consuming and, doing, playing by these rules that society has quote unquote established for us, and making my own rules and creating my own freedom by doing that is really what it was for me. But I think we all come to that point at different times in our life, and for me it was just a couple road trips that I took that led me to understand that there was more, and that I could probably touch more people through my writing and my podcasting than what I was doing with coaching and working with youth every day.
Okay, thank you very much. Krystal, how do you put your boundaries in?
My boundaries, how do I put my boundaries in? By being really clear of when I can't give anymore. Like, I'm a very giving person, but I've learned through my life that you have to put yourself first. And so when I come to that place where I can't give anymore, I will come back to my office hours and say, no, beyond this, you will not get my answers. You will have to wait till the next day. But if I can, I will. But if I can't, I won't, because I know how important my health is and how important I am and how much more I can serve when I am my best self.
Rosa, what about you? How do you put your boundaries in? You're mute, darling.
Oh, sorry. The question is, how do I put my boundaries in? Can you say the question again?
Yeah, in terms of, we've heard an awful lot about how society is shaping us. How do you put boundaries in to say that, no, I'm not accepting this anymore?
Oh, okay. Well, I actually now include that in my course. Teaching a no is a beautiful word. So when we understand who we really are and what I'm meant to be on this earth, I look deeper inside every time and question, why am I doing this? So It's the questions that I ask continuously that gets me to say, no, I'm not doing that. This is what I need to do, because I'm in alignment with my own values and vision first before everything else. Because I know that we were all put here with a specific purpose on this planet. And unless we each understand that, we might continue being bombarded by everything else that presents itself.
Thank you. Vanessa, what's your take on that question, please?
Yeah, mine is actually a little similar to Rosa's in that I don't, just like I don't believe in a diet, I don't necessarily believe in boundaries. I believe in realigning. And when I'm in alignment, the right answer will be, sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes the answer is no, sometimes the answer is I'll take it all, sometimes the answer is I'm not interested in any, like, so it's really about, I believe there's no difference between true self-service and serving the other. I believe when the answer is right, it serves everyone. There's really only one of us here. So in divine alignment, if I'm acting from that way the best I can, then what is the best thing to come about will be the thing that comes about.
Thank you. Thank you very much, speakers. Oh, I'm blown away. I'm blown away. As always, we've had a phenomenal session, but I love this one. Thank you so much. Now, we have a URL, please, to put in the chat for our
in communities across Australia with 57 Australian sign.
Oh, whoever's on, thank you. So there's the URL for the link, for the survey link. Grab it, grab the chat, please, folks, because we are almost at an end. Those of you who are on phones, let me know. There you go. That's the end of the hour. So thank you so much. Can we, last slide, please? There you go. Thank you so much, guys. It has been a phenomenal session. Once again, you've all brought it, and your connection to your words have power. You've connected with your words. Your words have had power this morning. Thank you so much, everybody. Oh, next month, we are definitely going live. We've had a bit of a technical hitch on the live streaming today, but November, we're definitely going live, promise. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. See you next month. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you all for coming.